Hello, welcome to the 30K channel dedicated to games set and Horus Heresy. I'm your host, David Bryant, and I've been joined by Paul and Mark. Good morning, gents.
Good morning.
Excellent to have these guys back. Now, we haven't seen Paul's Raven Guard for a while, maybe 6 months?
Maybe a bit longer.
Maybe a bit longer.
Yeah, 6 months to 8 months, I think.
And it is fantastic to have them back. And Mark, we last saw you in a game of Adeptus Titanicus.
Yeah, back in March last year.
Excellent. What Legio did you bring?
I brought my own, Legio Gannicus.
Oh, nice. So that game is available on the website to watch if you haven't seen it. So look forward to that. Gents, we've got a Titanic clash today. We've got Wordbearers versus Raven Guard.
Yeah.
Two really different lists, though, I think.
Yeah.
Lots of infantry, though.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
Lots of infantry.
Yeah. Two really lovely armies as well. I cannot say highly enough how well they're painted. They look absolutely spectacular on the table. And we've got really deep, dark red of the Wordbearers.
Yeah, nice blood red.
Yeah. And then the lovely kind of gradiated black of the Raven Guard. They look fantastic.
Hide in the shadows.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a good game. We've got Tide of Carnage. We've got Harrow and Anvil. So they're going to be fighting across this quite heavily populated. Well, it's not really populated. It's got heavily destroyed. Yes, densely. That's the word. City. So it should be good fun. Paul, tell us a little bit about your list.
Okay, so you've probably seen my previous lists with many Raptors. I am that guy. This time, only one today.
Yes.
2,500 points, so I had to cut down somewhere. I've bought some things that I haven't bought before to the 30K channel. I have used before. I've got a couple of Quartus, Contempt of Quartus Dreadnoughts. Be interesting to see how they play up against the heavily demonic Wordbearers army. We'll see. And some Assault Marines as well, which should be the mainstay of a Raven Guard army, not mine.
You've got a ton of troops, though.
Lots of infantry. So, yeah, I'm excited. Be interesting to see what happens.
It will. And Mark, you've brought us a few firsts as well. You've brought a Sabre to the channel as well. That's the first Sabre we've had on.
Yeah. I did a few test games with it. Really like the model. Trying to find a tactical use for it's been the challenge, but it's been good fun. Good fun.
Sits in that fast attack slot as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Who doesn't want a tanking fast attack slot?
It's really cool. It's the first time I've seen the kit up close, and it's put together really well, and it all slots in. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the Forge World have made massive steps forward with the CNC work and the CAD work, definitely. So the quality is phenomenal. It really is.
Is it all resin?
All resin, yeah. It's worth the money. Really worth the money.
And at 80 points as well, it's cheap as chips.
Cheap as chips. It's throwaway.
To quote David Dickinson, is my favourite guy, I'm telling you. The other thing as well, we've got a Cerastus or a Caestus, depends how you want to pronounce it, Assault Ram as well.
Yeah, Flying Spartan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a favourite of mine. There's not many around, and I find it's a bit of a glass cannon. Sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes it's mediocre. I've took it today with no transport.
I was about to say, you've got nothing in it.
Nothing in it, no.
Crazy.
Can turn up late, which means that you've got a very expensive point unit sat there doing nothing. So I'm just going to use it as a distraction tool.
Okay. To be fair, it will be a distraction. I'm not sure how I'm going to cope with it, but we'll see what happens.
I think the most lethal thing really is the stuff when they deploy out of it, but you've not done that, so we have to just worry about that Magna Melter, don't we? That's the thing we've got to worry about.
Yeah, and I've upgraded it to have missile launchers, so it's got frag and crack missiles.
Oh, okay. All right, well, that'll be interesting. And then in your unit, you've got a lot of Zealots. A lot of your troops got Zealot.
I've built the list to represent what I feel Wordbearers are, which is Zealots. So Zardo Lek is a Diabolist, which allows me dark channeling. So I've maxed out as much dark channeling as I can today to show everybody what dark channeling can and can't do. It's a random roll on a chart, and I actually rolled Zealot 4 times.
You did. Unreal. And just remind us of the Zealot rule.
Re-roll to hits on the first round of combat.
Yeah.
Nice bonuses. Because Zardo Lek is a Diabolist, it gives me preferred enemy loyalists.
Jeez Louise.
And also fearless.
Oh yeah, Zealot, yeah. Nearly everybody, the entire army is nearly fearless. So
that's good. I think it's going to be really good. You've both got some real combat armies, haven't you? Some units.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing that Wordbearers do really excel at, which is getting close and dirty. The close combat ability far outstrips the shooting ability, in my opinion.
But don't forget, you've got the Furies. They are a beast in combat, aren't they?
Yeah, if they survive the turn they arrive, then They can be very strong.
I need to charge them, not let them charge me.
Yeah.
That +1 to initiative.
I think the early game here will be about target priority, because you need to get rid of that Vindicator to save your Dark Furies.
Yeah.
Those Galvoback perhaps need dealing or weakening off a little bit earlier on. And maybe for you, the Cortis probably, because they're strength 10 and they'll do the
Absolutely,
Galvoback straight off, won't
absolutely. The idea would be to try and take them out quickly, but we'll see.
It's going to be good fun. They've got some good lists here. A really nice board. It's going to be really interesting to see how they deal with all the terrain. The board is from the previous game we used, Sons of Horus Imperial Fist. I racked my brains. I could not think of a board to build. And I looked at this and went, do you know what? I think it will do. I'm not being lazy before anyone accuses me of being lazy, but it's, I think it will work. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Gents, I think we dig into your lists, work out exactly what you've got.
Yep.
And roll-off wise, you rolled the roll-off, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I deployed first and going first currently.
Is there a siege imminent?
I want that last turn.
He does. It's a thinking man's game, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, with 5 turns, that's it.
Yeah.
After 5 turns, we all know.
And you've got to claim those. You've got to claim those sectors. You know, you have to have a scoring unit and no enemy units in that particular part of the battle zone, and it's worth 3, 5, or 7 points.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be really tough because you've both got a ton of infantry to deal with. So
Yeah.
it might be a low scoring game, but very tight, I think.
I think I said to Paul earlier, I think it's going to be an attrition game. I really do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a slog.
Yeah,
Slogfest.
it will be tough.
They're usually the best ones.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, the closest, that's for sure.
Awesome stuff. All right, let's get into it. We'll see you at the beginning of turn 1.
This is 2,500 points of Raven Guard. The Warlord has the immovable object Warlord trait, which gives him fearless and it will not die. And I'm running the Rite of War Liberation Force. Leading off the Raven Guard today, the HQ choices, we have a Praetor armed with Artificer Armour, digital lasers, Iron Halo, a jump pack, melter bombs, and a pair of Raven's Talons. Supporting him is a Chaplain, armed with Artificer Armour, a jump pack, plasma pistol, a power maul, and a refractor field. And finally, a Damocles Command Rhino, armed with a pintle-mounted heavy bolter. First for the elites is a Contemptor Dreadnought Talon, Portus. They are both armed identically, with a Chain Fist with a built-in Plasma Blaster, and a Dreadnought Close Combat Weapon with built-in Melter Gun. They are both armed with extra armour. For the first and second troops choices are 2 identical tactical squads. The Rhino is stock with a Dozer Blade, and the Sergeant has Artificer Armour, Melter Bombs, and a Power Sword, and they're all armed with additional combat blades. The third and final troops choice is a Legion Assault Squad. The Sergeant is armed with Artificer Armour, Bolt Pistol, Power Weapon in the form of a Power Axe. There are 2 additional Power Axes in the squad. They're all armed with Melter Bombs, and also in the unit is an Apothecary armed with a jump pack and a power sword. First entry for Fast Attack is a 10-man Dark Fury Assault Squad. The Chooser of the Slain has Melter Bombs, and this unit is also joined by an Apothecary with a jump pack and power sword. The second Fast Attacks slot is a Seeker Squad. The Sergeant is armed with an Artificer Armour, a Combi Melter Gun, Melter Bombs, and a power sword. In the unit is an additional 2 Combi Melter Guns, and the Rhino has a Dozer Blade. Heavy support choice for the Raven Guard is a Fire Raptor gunship armed with 4 Hellstrike missiles and a Reaper autocannon battery on the turret ball mounts.
2,500 points of Word Bearers led by the Crimson Apostle, running Warlord trait Rain of Fire, no Rite of War. Leading the Word Bearers, the Crimson Apostle, Zardu Layak, armed in Artificer Armour, Bolt Pistol, Frag and Crack Grenades, Parody of Flame, and with a Warlord trait Rain of Fire. Zardek knows the psychic powers from Demonology Malefic. Primary power is Summoning. He has Cursed Earth and Sacrifice. Accompanying him is a Centurion in Cataphractii Terminator armour, paired lightning claws, but with Burning Law. Centurion knows psychic powers from Biomancy. Primary's power is Smite, and he also knows Warp Speed. Elites, there is a 5-man Terminator squad in Cataphractii Terminator armour. The Sergeant is equipped with Combi Bolter, Chain Fist. There is a Plasma Blast Gun, 3 Power Axe, 1 Power Sword. The squad has the Zealot special rule due to Dark Channeling. Second elite choice, a 6-man Galvorback squad. The Dark Martyr is armed with Artificer armour and a paired lightning claws. Third elite choice is a Contemptor Mortis Dreadnought armed with 2 twin-linked autocannons. The only fast attack choice is a Legion Sabre Strike tank armed with Anviler Stub autocannon and Volokite Culverin. First troops choice, a Legion tactical squad, 10 men. Sergeant has Artificer armour, bolter, bolt pistol, melter bombs and a power axe. They ride to battle in a dedicated transport, a Rhino that's armed with a multi-melter. The squad also has the special rule Zealot due to dark channeling. Second troops choice, Legion Assault Squad, 10 man. Sergeant armed with Artificer armour, bolt pistol, combat shield and power axe. 9 legionaries armed with bolt pistol, combat shield, close combat weapons. There are 2 power axes. They also have Zealot special rule due to dark channeling. They're accompanied by a Legion Apothecary armed with a jump pike and power sword. Final troops choice, only possible as Zardulaek is the Warlord, is a 10-man Ashen Circle squad. The Ironclast is armed with Artificer armour, plasma pistol, power axe and Phosphex bomb. The 5 incendiaries have got power armour, hand flamers, axe rate. They also know Zealot special rule due to dark channeling. They're accompanied by a Legion Apothecary equipped with a jump pike and power sword. First heavy support is a Legion Vindicator siege tank armed with a Demolisher cannon, combi bolter and dozer blade. The final heavy support choice is a Legion Cerastus assault ram, magma melter and upgraded to have 2 wing mounted missile launchers.
Raven Guard turn 1 movement. The 2 Quartus have leapt the wall and made their way towards the Galvorback, and the Damocles has remained stationary. Turn 1 Raven Guard shooting phase. The Damocles Command Rhinos used its once per game ordnance barrage and targeted the Vindicator. It hit and also clipped the Dreadnought, so I'm just going to roll on the Vindicator to see if it does any damage to it. So as it's barrage ordnance, I get 2 dice, pick the highest. Strength 8, armor 12. Causes a glance. So 1 hull point down, and then onto the Dreadnought. Again, side armor 12. Causes a glance as well. So the Dreadnought does get an invulnerable save on the side armor.
5 up. Nope.
So it's 2 hull points down, on 1 on the Vindicator, 1 on the Dreadnought. In the shooting phase, the 2 Quartus have run. The first one has run a mighty 4 inches and using the fleet rule to negate the 1. And the second Quartus ran 6, but just ran up behind the first one.
Wordbearers turn 1 movement. The Terminators have moved forward 4 inches, scrambling over the barricades. The Vindicator nearly broke down on the barricades, but due to the dozer blade was able to move a mighty 6 inches, moving himself closer to the Damocles. The strike tank moved 12 inches towards Damocles. The Dreadnought remained stationary to activate the Skyfire special rule. Galvorback, negotiating the barricades, moved a mighty 4 inches, and the Rhino repositioned itself ready for a shot against the Dreadnoughts. Wordbearers turn 1 psychic. Zardulaek manifested Cursed Earth, allowing all demon models within 6 inches a +1 to their invulnerable. He also generated Summoning. This materialised 10 lesser demons. They did scatter, but were able to position them on and around the crane. Wordbearers turn 1 shooting phase. The Rhino is going to shoot the multi-melter at the lead Dreadnought. Hit. Front armour 13, strength 8. Nothing. Both tanks had no legitimate target, so they opted not to shoot this turn. The Dreadnought is waiting to intercept on the next turn, so didn't shoot. However, the demons were able to run forward a mighty 6 inches. Not to be outdone, the Galvorback also ran a mighty 6 inches. Zardulaek and his command squad, unable to get very far, only managed a pitiful 1 inch.
Turn 2, Raven Guard movement phase. We've had very lucky rolls on the reserves. All of my reserves have come in. So we have the first tactical squad over there.
then we have the second one also behind the word bearer's lines, and then the Seeker squad has appeared also, disembarking and facing down the Warlord. They have picked him as their preferred enemy unit. We have the Assault squad has arrived via Deep Strike. Fortunately for me, the Damocles survived, and due to its nature ability to stop everything from scattering within 24 inches, they haven't scattered. So they've taken a nice perch in the bunker there. The Dark Furies have appeared on the edge at the cusp of my lines, and they have had to take one save due to dangerous terrain, but passed. Finally, the Fire Raptor, my pride and joy, has appeared. Took some Skyfire shots from the Mortis Contemptor. Fortunately for me, it did no damage, but it did cause me to chink. Turn to Raven Guard shooting phase. The Dark Furies have run a mighty 5 inches, spreading out to avoid the Vindicator, as have the Assault squad with the Chaplain. Both run 5 inches. The two Rhinos with the Tactical squads have both moved flat out, moving up so they can disgorge their troops a bit later on in the battlefield turn. The Fire Raptor has opened fire. The autocannon turret on the left-hand side has shot into the Vindicator, causing no damage. The chain gun has fired into the Assault squad. All hits and wounds, but unfortunately for the word bearers, 3 casualties were sustained, and the last autocannon fired into the Terminators, 2 hits, 2 wounds, and 2 saves. The 2 Contemptor Quartus class dreadnoughts fired into the Lesser Demons. They caused 3 wounds, killing off 1 and leaving 1 on 1 wound. However, the lead Quartus took a hull point from overcharged plasma. The Seekers have opened fire into the Warlord with the heavy rounds, AP2. 3 hits on 6s, causing 3 wounds. Unfortunately, the saves were all made on the unit, no wounds caused. The Rhino decided to shoot as well, didn't cause any wounds either. Raven Guard turned to assault phase. The 2 Quartus class dreadnoughts charged into the Lesser Demons. Unfortunately, the Hammer of Wrath attacks were saved, and they managed a mighty 3 wounds out of 12 attacks, pretty appalling. However, the demons failed their 5 up invulnerable saves and 3 were killed. This leaves 1 demon left to fight. In response, however, the demons fought back. However, despite 1 rending hit, failed to get through the front armour.
At the end of combat, the demons failed their morale test. Different to normal rules, they roll on a Perils of the Warp charge for the Runestorm. The roll was a 6. This increases the weapon, ballistic skill, and initiative by 1 to the end of the next next phase, and it also gives an extra D3 warp charge points.
At the end of the Raven Guard combat phase, the 2nd Contemptor Quartus managed to not be in combat, so has consolidated a mighty 1 inch.
Wordbearers turn 2. Reserves. The Serestus assault ram has been delayed. However, the Ashen Circle arrived by Deep Strike near the Damocles. They did scatter a little bit, but that's okay. Sabre Strike tank moved 12 inches forward towards the Damocles, trying to get into their deployment zone. The Vindicator has lined up a shot for the assault squad. The Terminators have moved also towards the assault squad. The Dreadnought now decided to join in with the assault squad and try and see if we can kill that unit this turn. The assault squad have surrounded the tactical squad in the Rhino with a view of assaulting that in this turn. Tactical squad mounted in the Rhino have also moved up to deal with the assault squad in their lines. Zarduleak and the Blade Slaves, alerted to enemies in their line, have turned round with a view of dealing with the Seekers. The Galvorbak have moved towards to support their demon kin and deal death to the two contemptors. Wordbearers turned to psychic phase. Zardulac drew from the warp, tried to manifest some more demons, but was unsuccessful. However, managed to manifest Cursed Earth, giving his unit a +1 to their invulnerable. He also tried to manifest Force on his weapon, but was unsuccessful. The Centurion tried to manifest Warp Speed, but unfortunately it was dispelled. Wordbearers turned to shooting. The Ashen Circle line up shots against the rear armour of the Damocles. The Sergeant shoots a plasma pistol, hits but fails to penetrate. A trooper throws a crack grenade, misses totally. However, the Apothecary lines a shot with his bolt pistol, hits and causes a glancing hit. The Sabre Strike tank lined up a shot against the Damocles Rhino, shot with its autocannons, caused one hit, penetrated, resulting in a shaken result. The Legion Vindicator shot at the assault squad, did scatter, however, was able to kill 3 of the assault marines. They snap fired the combi bolter on the roof and was able to hit once and kill another space marine. The Legion Terminators lined up shots against the assault marines. The combi bolters hit many times. Unfortunately, all the wounds were saved. The Legionary with the plasma gun fired, hit once, got hot, caused a wound, which was saved against the cover. However, in his zealot anger, he unfortunately killed himself. Bladestays lined up shots against the Seekers, shot with the plasma pistols, hitting once, killing 1 Marine. Zardulac also shot with his bolt pistol, hitting once, wounding, but the wound was saved. The Legion tactical squad in the Rhino, 2 Marines shot at the assault squad with their bolt guns from the top hatch, scoring 3 hits, 3 wounds, killing 1 Marine. The combi bolter on top of the Rhino shot, failed to wound. However, the multi-melter was able to take a shot and kill an assault marine. Legion assault marines lining up shots at the tactical squad in the Rhino, fired 3 bolt pistols at the rear armour, causing 1 glancing hit. The Legionary at the front threw a crack grenade, unfortunately missed. Wordbearers turned to assault. The Legion assault marines assaulted the Rhino. Overwatch was fired, however, no wounds were caused. The Legion Dreadnought charged the assault marines, hitting on a Hammer of Wrath but causing no wounds. Legion Terminators charged a mighty 10 inches over terrain to get into the fight. Zardulac and his Bladeslave charged into the Seekers. And finally, the Galvorback, eager to support their demon brethren, charged a mighty 12 inches into the Contemptor Dreadnought. Assault Marines attacked the Rhino, and even with Zealot, with all the attacks, only 1 penetrating hit was caused. It was a stunned result, so we're going to have to see what happens in the following turn. Bladeslaves hitting at Initiative 5, Weapon Skill 5, charged in, 10 attacks, hit with 9 of them, wiping out the entire squad to a man. Bladeslaves after combat consolidate a mighty 5-inch, but only move 3 to consolidate and keep an eye on the tactical marines in the other Rhino. Combat between the Galvorback and the Cortis Dreadnought. Galvorback's charged in, a total of 31 attacks, 26 hits, looking for 6 for rending. Unfortunately, only got 2, but the 2 rending hits were not strong enough to actually penetrate the armour. The Demon also attacked the Cortis Dreadnought, causing 1 hit, and with its rending ability, was able to actually rip the Power Fist from the Dreadnought.
The Raven Guard Contemptor Cortis put the remaining attacks into the Galvorback. However, after 2 hits, 1 wound, the invulnerable save proved too good and no casualties were caused. Combat between the assault squads from the Raven Guard, the Wordbearers Terminators and the Wordbearers Contemptor Mortis, starting at Initiative 4, the Apothecary lashed out into the Terminator squad. Both hit, both wound. 2 lookout sirs were made from the console. However, 1 Terminator failed his save and was slain. The Contemptor Mortis put 4 attacks into the assault squad. However, despite getting 3 wounds, no casualties were caused.
The word bearer Centurion attacks with his lightning claws at initiative step 1, causing 3 hits, 3 wounds. 1 wound was taken on the apothecary, who unfortunately failed his feel no pain, and the second legionary also lost his life with it failing his feel no pain. The word bearer Terminators between them killed 3 Marines and inflicted a single wound on the chaplain.
At initiative 1, the Raven Guard assault squad put all of their attacks into melter bombs onto the Contemptor Mortis. Managed to accumulate 4 hits. 3 of them managed to pen. 1 was saved, and unfortunately for the Dreadnought, it exploded. However, no injuries were caused. As everyone is fearless, there's no checks needed.
Word bearers under turn 2 summary. Lots of combat, lots of carnage. Making some headway. I've got a scoring unit in the deployment zone, so things are looking okay at the minute.
Turn 3 Raven Guard movement phase. The Seeker Rhino has moved around, trying to block off Zardu and his unit. The Tactical Squad Rhino has moved up and disgorged the contents, hoping to pick off a few Assault Marines. The Fire Raptor has moved up, training its main gun onto the Rhino. The Dark Furies have moved up behind the Vindicator, hoping to get rid of it. The Chaplain has remained in combat, can't do anything else. The Contemptor Quartus has fallen back, looking at the Ashen Circle. Finally, the Damocles has decided he's done his job and bugging out. Turn 3 Raven Guard shooting. The Fire Raptor, having moved up, has fired at 3 different targets. The first Reaper autocannon is fired into the Sabre, managing to cause 3 hull points, getting rid of it. The second Reaper autocannon fired into the Assault Squad, managed to cause 2 wounds, killing 2 of them off. Finally, the main gun fired down into the Rhino, causing 2 hits, 2 penetrating hits, and fortunately getting rid of the multi-melter and shaking it. The Dark Furies pushed up behind the Vindicator, threw a crack grenade and a bolt pistol shot into the rear armour, however both failed to do anything. Continuing on with the Raven Guard shooting phase, the Tactical Squad managed to put a few rounds down against the Assault Squad, causing 2 wounds, and unfortunately the Sergeant managed to fail his 2-up save and a 5-up feel no pain. The 2 Rhinos, one belonging to the Tactical Squad and the other one from the Seeker Squad, put a number of rounds down into the Slaves, causing 1 wound. The other Tactical Squad Rhino moved flat out to escape a round of combat. The Contemptor Quartus that turned round to face down the Ashen Circle put a couple of shots down. One from the melter gun managed to melt an Ashen Circle. The Plasma Blaster, however, managed to cause a hull point on the Quartus, but also managed to kill one. Turn 3 Raven Guard assault phase. The Contemptor Quartus managed to charge into the Ashen Circle, and the Dark Furies managed to charge into the Word Bearer's Vindicator. The Contemptor Quartus is fighting into the Galvorback and the Demon. Unfortunately, the Galvorback striking first, the Champion managed to cause 1 hit and caused a penetrating hit. As it was on its last hull point, it is now wrecked.
After the combat, the Galvorback consolidated a mighty 5 inches, the Demon 4.
The Chaplain, fighting into the Terminators and the console, managed to cause 4 hits, 4 wounds. Terminators failed 1 save, killing 1 off.
At initiative 5, the Centurion struck back with his paired lightning claws, only managed 1 hit, caused 1 wound, but the wound was saved. At initiative step 1, the Terminators struck at the Chaplain, causing 2 wounds, 1 with a chain fist, 1 with a power axe. Unfortunately, the Chaplain failed his invulnerable save. After combat, the Terminators consolidated 5 inches towards the Tactical Squad.
Lastly to fight, the Dark Furies charging into the Vindicator, managed to strip the last 2 hull points off, causing a wreck. The Contemptor Quartus, having charged into the Ashen Circle, crushed 3 on the assault. The returning Ashen Circle Sergeant managed to put a melter bomb into the Quartus, taking a hull point off, and the Quartus, using the +2 to its charge roll, managed to roll a 1 on its reactor and is now a wreck. Raven Guard turn 3 has been mixed bag. The 2 Contemptor Quartus are gone, which is a bit of a pain for me, leaving a number of word bearers in the Raven Guard deployment zone. However, on the far side, it's looking a little bit more like a Raven Guard victory. Let's hope that they can manage to survive the next turn.
Word bearers, turn 3, movement, reserves. The Serestus assault ram is coming from reserve, looking to line a shot up against the tactical squad and use Power of the Machine Spirit at the Fire Raptor. The assault marines have tried again to engage the tactical squad in the Rhino. Zardu Layak has positioned his men to deal with the Seeker's Rhino and take it out of the game. The Legion champion with his Terminator Guard have moved forward to engage the tactical squad. The tactical squad has disembarked from the Rhino, also lining shots up at the Raven Guard tactical squad. The Galvorback have moved forward, but due to obstacles, they only managed 4 inches. The Demon, however, was able to move a full 6 inches. Finally, the Ashen Circle, dispatching the Dreadnought, have moved. They use the jump packs and moved 12 inches towards the Democles. Word Bearers turn 3 psychic phase. The console has successfully manifested warp speed. Zardulek attempted to bring some more demons from the warp, but failed. He also failed to cast Cursed Earth on his squad. Word Bearers turn 3 shooting phase. The assault squad, eager to deal with the last hill point on the Rhino, threw a grenade which failed to hit, shot 2 bolt pistols at rear armour which also failed to hit. The Serestus assault ram split its fire between the Fire Raptor and the tactical squads on the ground, fired a crack missile at the Fire Raptor, forcing it to jink, clipped it, caused a hull point, and the jink failed to save that. The Magma Melter shot down into the tactical squad, killing 6 Marines outright and doing a hull point of damage on the Rhino. The Blade Slaves fired plasma pistols into the side armour of the Rhino, scoring 1 hit, 1 gets hot. The gets hot was saved, but the hit failed to penetrate the armour. The Word Bearers tactical squad disembarked from the Rhino. Albeit that were shaken, they shot 20 shots into the tactical squad, scoring 4 hits, 4 wounds, but all the saves were made. The Terminators then also opened up with their combi bolters, again scoring 4 hits, 4 wounds, but all were saved. The Ashen Circle combined fire of a grenade, bolt pistol and plasma pistol. The grenade damaged and penetrated the Democles command Rhino, wrecking it. Final act of the shooting phase, 2 units run forward. The Galvaback managed only 3 inches, however the Demon a mighty 6 inches into the enemy's deployment zone. Word Bearers assault phase, turn 3. The assault marines successfully assaulted the Rhino. Overwatch was ineffective. The Centurion and Terminator troops did a multi-charge against the tactical squad and their Rhino. Again, Overwatch was ineffective. And finally, Zardulek and his Blade Slaves charged the Seeker's Rhino. Word Bearers assault marines finally managed to crack the final hull point on the Rhino. As the troops inside have got no room to get out, the entire squad is eliminated. The Word Bearer champion issued a challenge to the Raven Guard sergeant, which he accepted. Attacking with his lightning claws, he struck 5 times, hit 5 times, wounded 5 times, but the Artificer armour held out and he suffered no wounds.
Initiative 4, the Raven Guard tactical squad struck back. However, despite a numerous number of attacks, nothing managed to penetrate the Terminator armour.
At initiative step 1, the axe-wielding Terminator swung in, hit once, killed 1 Marine. The sergeant with the chain fist struck against the Rhino, removing the final hull points, wrecking the vehicle. The Raven Guard took a leadership test at -1, but was successful and the fight remains. The Blade Slaves swung their swords into the Rhino, removing the final hull points, albeit they are AP2, it didn't destroy the vehicle, just wrecked it. End results for combat for the word bearers, pretty good on their deployment zone. They've killed a scoring unit, tied another scoring unit up, and denied by removing the last rhino. The Ashen Circle are holding their enemy's objective by being in their deployment zone, supported closely by the Gal Vorbak. Pretty good, quite strong, fairly pleased with the performance so far.
Raven Guard turn 4 movement. With not many units left on the board, there's very little choice as to how to play this turn. The Fire Raptor has gone into hover mode and turned to face the Ashen Circle. The Dark Furies have leapt up from behind the Vindicator and made their way towards the Word Bearers' lines. We shall see how this shooting phase goes. Raven Guard turn 4 shooting phase. The hover mode Fire Raptor distributed all of its shots. The main cannon and all the rockets went into the Ashen Circle. However, as it was snap firing, only one of the Ashen Circle fell to the missiles and 2 fell to the chain gun, the Apothecary working overtime to save the remainder of the squad. The 2 autocannons split their fire up. However, as they were snap firing, the autocannons into the Rhino failed to do anything, and the other autocannons into the assault squad also failed to do anything. Turn 4 Raven Guard assault phase. The Dark Furies declared a charge against the Tactical Marines. They took 20 shots in Overwatch. 1 successfully caused a wound, however this was saved. The charge, however, was not made, leaving the Dark Furies in the open. The Tactical Squad versus the Terminator Squad. It's a drawn combat. No one suffered any wounds. All saves were made or failed to wound. Raven Guard turn 4 summary. We are in the pits of despair here. The Fire Raptor in hover mode is open to the Assault Ram, and the Dark Furies are out in the open with only 3 units left. I think it's only a matter of time before the Word Bearers finish up.
Word Bearers turn 4 movement phase. Ashen Circle, the eye on the objective, have moved into cover out of range of the Fire Raptor. The Gal Vorbak have continued their march towards the enemy deployment zone together with the single demon. The Tactical Squad embarked in their Rhino, and the Rhinos clambered over the wall. Zardu Leek and his Blade Slaves have climbed over the wreckage with a view of assaulting that Tactical Squad. The Serestus Assault Ram, seeing his target, flown in really close in behind the Fire Raptor, looking this turn to shoot it down. And finally, with the objective in mind, the remaining party of the Assault Marines have moved into cover away from the Dark Furies. Word Bearers turn 4 psychic phase. The Centurion has managed to manifest warp speed again, so he can deal damage in close combat. Zardu Leek attempted to bring more demons from the warp, but failed. Word Bearers turn 4 shooting. The Serestus Assault Ram fired both its missiles, forcing a jink on the Fire Raptor, however missed both times. The Magma Melter was more successful, striking the rear armour, penetrating, resulting in an immobilisation result. Word Bearers in the shooting phase consolidated their hold of the battlefield by running the Gal Vorbak, the single demon, and most importantly the scoring unit Ashen Circle into cover. Word Bearer turn 4 assault phase. The Centurion manifested warp speed, giving him an additional 3 attacks. He struck with 7 attacks, hitting 4 times, wounding 4 times. However, the Artist for Armour held out and the Sergeant was able to save all the wounds. Initiative 4, the Raven Guard struck back, unfortunately inflicting no wounds. At Initiative Step 1, the axe-wielding Terminator swung in, hit twice, wounding twice, killing 2 Marines outright. The Sergeant with the chain fist unfortunately missed all his attacks. The combat resulted in a leadership test, however the Raven Guard were able to successfully hold us off for another turn.
Raven Guard movement phase turn 5. Not many left of the Raven Guard, so the Dark Furies have made their way towards the enemy leadership. They've jumped up, leaving a short charge distance. Straight into the assault phase, due to lack of shooting on this front, the Dark Furies finally managed their charge, have gone straight into the Terminators. Hopefully they can save that lone tactical marine.
Initiative step 7, with warp speed activated, the Centurion swings in at the tactical marine sergeant, hits 7 times, wounds 6 times, and again the Artificer armor holds out.
The Dark Furies managed to put 32 attacks from the Raven's Claws into the Terminators, causing 22 hits and then 14 wounds, of which 6 of them were at AP2, managed to wipe out the squad. At the end of Raven Guard turn 5, I did my best to stabilise the situation. The Tactical Sergeant has managed to survive the combat. He is now being bubble wrapped by Dark Furies, something I don't think I'd ever see myself saying. And the Fire Raptor is left stranded in the middle.
Word Bearers turn 5 movement. The Ashen Circle securing the objective in the enemy's deployment zone. Supported by the Galvorback and the Lone Demon. The tactical squad immobilised. The Rhino negotiating the wall, stripping off its last hull point. The only option they got was to disembark from their vehicle. Zardu Layak mounted the destroyed Rhino, ready to take shots at the Lone Sergeant Tactical Marine. Finally, the Cerestus Assault Ram rammed the immobilised flyer, scoring a penetrating hit and shaking the crew, leaving it on 1 hull point remaining. Word Bearers turn 5, Psychic phase. Zardu Layak has manifested Cursed Earth on his squadron, giving them a +1 invulnerable to their demon save. Word Bearer turn 5, Shooting phase. After successfully ramming the Fire Raptor, with using the power of the Machine Spirit, the Cerestus Assault Ram fired the Magma Melter, striking the Fire Raptor and exploding it. The last shooting action was the 2 Blade Slaves firing the plasma pistols into the Lone Tactical Marine Sergeant, hitting him twice, wounded him both times, killing him outright. That's the end of the game. Let's go back and see what the victory points are.
Raven Guard Word Bearers clashed on a cluttered battlefield and produced a bit of a runaway result, but we'll come back to that in a second. Mark, Paul, amazing game.
So, pushed towards the end, it was a struggle trying to get those units in and work out what they were going after. But Mark did really well. Really good game.
Yeah, to be fair, Paul, the game, in my mind, from my perspective, it swung more than once.
Yeah, it was really wild. There's lots of little pockets of fighting around the board, and as you saw in the end, the Word Bearers kind of left out on top. You kept the objective, and there was a few more units left on the board. I mean, Paul, you had a bit of a torrid time, but when you got into combat with those Furies, they did the business, didn't they?
That's what they do. That's what they're there to do.
Oh man, it was tough. We're going to talk a little bit more about the game. We're going to do the victory points first. We'll start with the Raven Guard. Unfortunately, they scored 0 points. Or nil points. Nil points. Very unfortunate. But the Word Bearers captured their own deployment zone, the middle ground, and the enemy's deployment zone, netting them 15 victory points, then +1 for last man standing, which was 16. So congratulations.
Thank you. Wow, it was interesting.
It was a crazy, crazy game. Mark, talk to me about your game. Tell me about it.
Well, to start off with so much being infiltrated and outflanking, I had to play defensively. And on turn 1, my strategy had to change immediately with Paul bringing all his troops on in my deployment zone behind me. So on turn 1, I ended up having to play a reactive game, which is not the way I like to play, but hey ho, you have to do what you've got to do. But the objective for my Ashen Circle was to push forward and try and secure the enemy deployment zone.
Sure. They did that.
They certainly did that. They certainly did, yeah.
I think the Raven Guard were amazing to get all of their reserves in on turn 2.
Yeah, so just give lots of questions for them to answer and see what happens. There were some tight spots. Difficult to place the units, to be fair. 3 units outflanking. Some poor dice rolls. It's always the bane of every game. But yeah, Mark just managed to answer those questions.
I think the tricky part of the game was where the 2 Courtice Contemptors could not fend off the Galvelback. By rights, they should have done. Their strength 10, AP 2, they should have just squashed those Galvelback in one attack. But the attacks just didn't come through from the Contemptors.
No, on the first turn when the demons fighting off against those lesser demons.
Yeah.
12 attacks, only getting 4 hits is just absolutely brutal, and only 3 of them managing to kill, leaving that one left over, and it was just game over for them really at that point.
Yeah, best free unit in the game.
It's worth noting very quickly though, at the beginning of the first turn, or when the first demons arrived, there were 10, but we revised that there was only 5 to come on. So there was 10 on the board, but when it actually came to the critical part, there was only 5 taking part in the game. So a slight revision, that was our fault. We kind of misread it, but we've got that sorted now. But those demons, 2 runes apiece, and they get rending.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Since Book 8's come out, they've really buffed the demons quite a lot. They get a enumeration, which you can choose from. When you're playing demons as an army itself, everything's got a point value. But with manifesting on Demonology Malefic, you get a free one. So you take it. Yes, it costs 3 warp charges to manifest them, and it is worth the risk.
Sure.
Because if it happens when it happens, you've got a free unit on the table. I tried for the rest of the game to get more in. Didn't manage it a second time. So
you just have to remember that Malefic as well. Just any double can cause a peril.
Yeah, true.
So that's again the risk.
It is a risk, a big risk.
And I think as well with the combat with the demons and the Contemptors, you did a really great job of rolling. When you perils, you rolled a 6, which give you some extra bonuses, doesn't it?
Absolutely. When demons fail a leadership test, instead of being wiped out, they roll on a chart.
Yes.
You have the chart has got various results from having additional runes, which could have quite easily wiped me out. And then the good old 6 is the one you really want, just buffs you.
It's like that special rule, some reality blinks and the units returned. I can't remember what edition that was, and it was previous maybe.
I think it was 7th.
I think it was 7th, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember that rule from years ago. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about demons in 30k, with all the psychic powers and stuff. Obviously, Thousand Sons have got them, but it feels weird to do a psychic phase in Heresy. I don't know.
It's where the core of the word bearers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, I played to the fluff rather than playing to win.
Sure.
They performed admirably.
Yeah.
They really did. Lorgar's very happy.
I think we just accept the fact now that demons are now a part of the Heresy because as the storyline moves on.
Yeah,
demons are becoming absolutely. They're becoming more involved in the game, and I think we will see more demons, and particularly with Book 8 as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're going to see more demon armies, hopefully. We've had a couple on the channel so far, so maybe more in the future, but they're still very much an unknown factor, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was tough. Gents, talk to me about a unit that did well for you. Start with Mark. What do you got?
My Apothecary and my Ashen Circle.
Yeah? Is that the one?
Absolutely. I thought long and hard. There's a couple of outstanding units, but when it really counted, with the Avenger Bolt cannon from your Fire Raptor.
And the missiles as well.
The missiles flying in, and I have never seen so many 5-foot field of pains be rolled.
And Lookout Sirs as well.
Lookout Sirs, yeah. I mean, you hit me in total over 10 times, and I lost 2 Marines.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Heartbreaking.
Apologise.
Salt in the wound, that one.
Paul, what do you got?
It's an interesting one. The Fire Raptor did what Fire Raptors do. When it appeared, it did the business, did some damage, took out the Sabre, which was a big, pain. It didn't really do a huge amount in this game.
No, the idea for the Sabre with its manoeuvrability, and because the mission we were playing, it was a scoring unit, was to move fast and get into the deployment zone.
Sure.
Didn't make it.
No, it did get struck out by the Fire Raptor. Just putting shots down left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
It did what it did. The Dark Furies as well. When they got into combat, they minced minced everything that they got into combat with. However, I think it'd have to be the lone tactical sergeant who somehow managed to boss against a console and 2 Terminators for, 3-4 turns?
3 full turns, and lightning claw saves alone was over 14.
Yeah. And your rolls for additional attacks for the warp speed, and you got all those additional attacks.
Yeah, I mean,
hits, shred.
Two rounds of combat.
Yeah.
D3, 3 both times.
Yeah.
And you held him off.
I held him off. Yeah. So every time I've come here, I think I've still said Tactical Marines as the.
Yeah.
You know, you can say the big units, the good units, but they're expected to do well. Tactical Marines are just the Tactical Marines. They're just a bit, standard, but they did do the job. They scored points.
Well rounded, I think.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Well rounded unit.
They're very cool.
Underrated.
Very much so. Very much so.
I really enjoyed that game. Watching that game unfold was fantastic. But let's not forget, we've got some thanks today. We had your son join us as well today. He's been in the background.
I did, yeah. And James, who plays 30k as well, he joins me at the Sanctuary Gaming Club that we go every week.
Brilliant.
He's been really useful for rules today.
Yeah, we've come across quite a few rules today. We've all been flicking through, but he's done a great job getting those for us, hasn't he?
I appreciate the help.
Yeah. And you mentioned a club there, Sanctuary Gaming.
Sanctuary Gaming, yeah, the game 6 nights a week. They have Mondays off.
That's good.
All day the weekends. We do a heresy every Friday. There's quite a big group of us. We play there, and I'm fortunate enough to live within striking distance of Warham World, so we go there quite a lot.
Lucky guy.
Lucky.
And Paul, what do you got?
Me, I'm right down south. Surrey Spartans, based in Coulsdon, just off the M23, north of the M25. They play every Wednesday evening and Sundays. Big heresy events there every so often. Big shout out to Cy Davis, who hosts those for us.
Great.
And yeah, just generally a bit of everything really, but for me, it's heresy.
Of course. We're trying to get hold of Cy Davis for a long time, but he's not keen, is he? He's a busy man.
He is a busy man.
He's
a busy man.
We will keep trying, though, but he's done some solar recently, which are quite tasty, aren't they?
He's done some phenomenal work, phenomenal paint schemes.
You might have to borrow them for us.
I might just drag him up.
Yeah. Oh, love to get him on. No Instagram for these gents. They're not part of that, which is absolutely fine. But if you do have any questions, please put them on the website, and I will try to answer them as best as I can. A ton of photos have been taken. They are on the Facebook page as always when the game is released. Gents, I've had a blast today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing yourselves
appreciate it.
And your beautiful armies. We would love you back. So we'll try and set some dates up, maybe together or different opponents next time, but we'll see. And thank you once again.
Definitely.
Good. We'll see you in the next game.